Hello and welcome to 1 Minute Theatre Reviews. I'm Paul Seven Lewis. This is the Minerva at Chichester and I'm here to see the Unfriend. What connects Doctor Who, Sherlock, the League of Gentlemen and Inside Number 9? Answers on a postcard, please. Not really, I'm going to tell you. It's the Unfriend, a laugh-a-minute comedy that's just opened at Chichester Festival Theatre's Minerva studio. And I'll give you all those connections in a moment. But for now, let's just say that Steven Moffat, writer and showrunner for Doctor Who and creator of Sherlock, has finally got round to writing a stage play at the age of 60. And that's encouraging for we older folk to think it's never too late. But I doubt there are many playwrights of any age who can make such a triumphant debut. The man has comedy bones, and the laughs come thick and fast. He knows how to make old jokes sound fresh. He understands how to give the actors the opportunity to use their faces and their bodies. And what actors! Francis Barber is a loud, confident American who turns out to be a serial murderer. Reece Shearsmith and Amanda Abbington are the couple she befriends, and who then can't get rid of her because they're too polite. And although much of the praise should go to Francis Barber's bravura performance, I did love Reece Shearsmith's comic timing and his panic-stricken face. It's a long time since I laughed so much. Well, that's the 1 minute review, but please keep watching because I have a lot more to tell you about this wonderful comedy. First, the connections. Steven Moffat, who wrote The Unfriend, is best known, probably, for Doctor Who, which he co-wrote during the first decade or so of its new incarnation. He also created Benedict Cumberbatch's Sherlock, which he co-wrote with Mark Gatiss, who's the director of The Unfriend. And we know him from The League of Gentlemen, which also starred Reece Shearsmith, who co-writes Inside Number 9. And stars in The Unfriend, which also stars Amanda Abbington, who was Watson's wife in Sherlock, and Francis Barber, who played Madame Kovarian in Doctor Who when Steven Moffat was the showrunner. So, they know one another, they work well together. The basic premise is that an overbearing American woman called Elsa meets Peter and Debbie, an English couple, on a cruise and invites herself to their house. They're too polite to say no. You get a glimpse of their front door, which has the number 9 on it. A little in-joke maybe, but it's a hint that we shouldn't be surprised when it turns out she's no simple pain in the neck. They soon discover she's a serial murderer, but they're still too polite to chuck her out. This is a comedy of manners, literally. I suspect how much you like it may depend on how much you identify with the self-defeating politeness and embarrassment of our suburban English couple. If you're happy to complain about the service in a restaurant, talk to your doctor about intimate infections, or barter with salespeople, well, you may well find this plot unbelievable. You might also refuse to suspend your disbelief because the characters seem too much like stereotypes. The overly polite Brits who won't say what they're thinking, the loud, brash American who makes jokes about a woman who's obese. But the thing is, people who are non-confrontational and those who are blunt to the point of rudeness are actually found throughout the world. But more than that, Steven Moffat subverts each stereotype. Peter is actually quite rude, even if he doesn't express it verbally. For example, he ignores his neighbour even when he's in the room talking to him. And our call a spade a bloody shovel American may be a killer, but she has a positive effect on this dysfunctional family. The previously grunting son and negative daughter, two more stereotypes who turn out to have depth, and are beautifully played by Gabriel, Howell and Maddie, Holliday, become happy, chatty, loving kids. She's murder poppings, says Debbie. By the way, the neighbour is a classic bore, but he too serves a more subtle function because he reminds us of the claustrophobia of suburban life with its low-level passive-aggressive, as Elsa says, rankling over boundary walls and parking spaces. And it helps us understand why residents of estates might need to be overly polite just to prevent all hell breaking loose. The neighbour is played to droning but sly perfection by Michael Simkins. We do meet a police officer who's not a stereotype, or at least not in the sense of the hard cops you so often see in TV dramas. He's another character subject to shyness and embarrassment, and given a scene-stealing performance by Marcus Onilude. Although it's his theatrical debut, Steven Moffat hits the boards running. His understanding of the stage is impressive. The Unfriend has structure, varying pace and flowing comedy. I mean, you know how in comedy sometimes the jokes or the situation or particular characters can seem forced? Not here. The jokes flow naturally. For example, Reece Shearsmith's character is so uptight someone says he would sever a proctologist's finger at the joint. In fact, Mr. Moffat doesn't force anything. He gives room for Reece Shearsmith to contort his face with surprise or embarrassment, or Amanda Abbington to express purse-lipped annoyance. I assume a lot of credit should go to director Mark Gatiss for the comic timing and the exemplary way the stage is used by the actors. The set by Robert Jones is a triumph. It can't be easy to create a suburban middle-class home when you've an audience on three sides, but with wooden flooring, a staircase, an L-shaped sofa and see-through areas at the back for kitchen and lobby, combined with a projection of the exterior of the house, Mr. Jones does just that. In the second act, we continue on tenterhooks about whether Elsa will poison again. But the funniest scene in the play is triggered by the fact that Peter's embarrassment inevitably extends to talking about toilet matters. You see, I'm embarrassed already. So there's an extended scene involving him trying to find a reason to examine the poo of someone in the toilet in case they'd been poisoned. And of course, our embarrassment as an audience is almost as acute as his. If you do go to see The Unfriend, and I recommend that you do, you might be anticipating the punchline long before it arrives, but you're still likely to be applauding when it does. I give The Unfriend 5 stars. I hope you enjoyed this review, or at least found it useful, and if you did, why not subscribe and you'll be the first to know about my future reviews. You can read my reviews at oneminutetheatreReviews.co.uk, and you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Thank you for watching.